Think modern engines are built to last? Think again, because right now some of the most popular engines are failing before 60,000 miles, leaving owners with $5,000, $10,000, even full engine replacements. These aren't old junk cars. These are engines found in vehicles people still buy every single day. Today we're counting down 12 engines that self-destruct before 60,000 miles. And trust this, some of these failures are so bad they've led to lawsuits, recalls, and total engine replacement. Number 12, Toyota 1ZZ-FE, early 1.8 liters. The Toyota 1ZZ-FE sounds like the last engine you'd ever expect to fail early. It's a Toyota after all. Most buyers go in expecting bulletproof reliability, something that easily crosses 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. But here's where expectation and reality completely fall apart. This engine hides a flaw that doesn't show up right away, and that's exactly what makes it dangerous. At first, everything feels normal, smooth driving, good fuel economy, no warning lights, but slowly, quietly, the engine starts burning oil, not a little. A lot. Some owners reported needing to top off oil every 500 to 1,000 miles. And if you didn't catch it in time, the engine would start running low, then dangerously low, and eventually and completely dry. And when that happens, internal components don't just wear out, they begin to fail rapidly. Real world, engines failing before 60,000 miles wasn't unheard of, especially for drivers who trusted the Toyota reliability reputation and didn't constantly monitor oil levels. So what caused it? A flawed piston ring design that allowed oil to slip into the combustion chamber and burn off. Over time, carbon buildup made the problem worse, increasing oil consumption even further. This created a vicious cycle. More oil burn leads to more wear, leads to more damage. Repair costs. A rebuild or replacement could easily hit $3,000 to $5,000 plus on what was supposed to be a low-cost economy engine. And here's the scary part. There's no dramatic early warning. No sudden breakdown at first, just a slow, silent failure happening under the hood. What makes this engine dangerous isn't how fast it fails, it's how quietly it destroys itself while everything seems fine. And from here, the engines don't just fail slowly, they fail harder, faster, and far more expensively. Number 11, Subaru EJ25, 2.5-liter turbo. The Subaru EJ25 has a reputation that splits the room. On one side, enthusiasts love it. Strong performance, all-wheel drive capability, and that signature Subaru feel. On the other side, long-term owners know the risks, because underneath that performance, this engine can turn into a serious financial problem before 60,000 miles. Most buyers expect this to be a durable, fun daily driver, something that can handle spirited driving without falling apart. But here's the reality. Two major failure points define this engine: head gasket failure and piston ringland failure. Let's start with the head gasket. When it fails, coolant and oil begin to mix. That leads to overheating, loss of lubrication, and eventually severe internal damage. At first, it might seem minor, a small leak, slightly higher temps, but if ignored, even briefly, the damage escalates quickly. Then comes the bigger problem, ringland failure. This is where the piston itself begins to crack under pressure. Once that happens, compression drops instantly. The engine starts misfiring, losing power. And within a short time, it's completely done. Real world. Owners report sudden knocking sounds, smoke, and total engine failure, often with little warning. And here's the kicker. Many of these failures happen on completely stock engines. No heavy modifications, no extreme abuse, just normal driving, and then failure. Repair costs? A proper rebuild can easily cost $5,000 to $8,000 plus, sometimes more depending on damage. So why does it happen? Weak internal components combined with turbo pressure and heat. The engine is constantly under stress, and over time, something gives. What makes it worse? Everything feels perfectly fine until it suddenly isn't. No long warning period, no gradual decline you can easily catch. Just a fast, expensive breakdown. What starts as a fun, performance-oriented engine quickly becomes a high-risk ownership gamble. And from here, the failures don't just involve internal damage. They start coming from deep design flaws that slowly destroy the engine from the inside out. Number 10, Chrysler 2.7-liter V6. The Chrysler 2.7-liter V6 might look like a normal budget-friendly engine on paper. But in reality, it became one of the most infamous reliability disasters in modern cars. At first, buyers thought they were getting a smooth, comfortable daily driver. Nothing flashy, just something dependable. But here's the reality. This engine has a hidden problem that slowly destroys it from the inside, and most owners don't even realize it until it's too late. Severe oil sludge buildup, and not the kind you can ignore. We're talking about thick, sticky sludge forming inside the engine, clogging oil passages and restricting lubrication to critical components. At first, the symptoms are subtle, maybe slightly higher temperatures, maybe a little roughness, but behind the scenes, the engine is starving for oil, and once oil flow drops, everything starts to wear out rapidly. Bearings, camshafts, internal components, all taking damage at the same time. Then comes the failure. Engines seizing before 60,000 miles wasn't rare, especially if oil changes weren't done perfectly on schedule. Real world? Owners reported sudden knocking, overheating, and complete engine shutdown, often without any chance to save it. Repair costs? A full engine replacement could run $4,000 to $7,000 plus, sometimes more than the car itself was worth. So what caused it? A flawed design with poor oil circulation and high operating temperatures. Even slight neglect accelerated sludge formation dramatically. And that's the problem. This engine didn't just need maintenance, it needed perfect maintenance. Miss an oil change, delay service, and the damage starts building instantly. What seemed like a simple, affordable engine turned into a high-risk mechanical time bomb. And from here, the next engine doesn't fail slowly like this. It fails suddenly and takes everything down with it. Number 9. Volkswagen/Audi EA 888, early Gen 1 and 2. The Volkswagen EA 888 powered some of the most popular Volkswagen and Audi models on the road. And on the surface, it feels like a modern, well-engineered success. Turbocharged performance, solid fuel economy, and smooth driving dynamics. Everything buyers expect from a premium compact engine. But hidden inside is one of the most dangerous failure points on this list. And the worst part? Most drivers have no idea it even exists. The problem comes down to one small component: the timing chain tensioner. Now, this isn't something most people ever think about. It's buried deep inside the engine, quietly doing its job. But when it fails, well, everything falls apart instantly. Here's how it happens. The tensioner loses pressure over time. That causes the timing chain to loosen. And the moment that chain slips, the engine loses synchronization between the pistons and valves. That leads to direct contact inside the engine, metal hitting metal at high speed. And when that happens, the engine doesn't just stall, it destroys itself. Real world. Owners have reported sudden, catastrophic engine failure well before 60,000 miles, often with little to no warning signs, no slow buildup, no clear symptoms you can catch early. Just one moment everything feels normal, and the next moment the engine is completely done. Repair costs? Easily $6,000 to $10,000 plus, depending on the extent of the damage. And in many cases, a full engine replacement is required. So why does it happen? A flawed tensioner design that can fail unexpectedly, even on well-maintained engines. That's what makes this so dangerous. This isn't about neglect. This isn't about bad driving habits. It's a built-in weak point that can trigger failure at any time. What feels like a refined modern engine quickly turns into a catastrophic mechanical disaster. And from here, the next engines don't just fail suddenly. They start failing repeatedly, draining your wallet again and again. Number 8. Mini N14 1.6 liter turbo. The Mini N14 delivers quick acceleration and that fun go-kart feel Mini is known for, but underneath it's one of the most frustrating engines to live with long term. Buyers expect a sporty, premium compact that's easy to own. Instead, many end up dealing with repeated failures before 60,000 miles. The biggest red flag: the timing chain tensioner, aka the death rattle. At cold start, owners often hear a loud metallic rattling sound. That's not harmless, it's the timing chain losing proper tension. Ignore it, and things escalate fast. A loose chain can jump timing, throwing off synchronization inside the engine. And once that happens, internal damage follows quickly, but it doesn't stop there. This engine is also known for heavy carbon buildup, high oil consumption, and turbo-related issues. Problems that stack on top of each other. Real world, owners report multiple repairs in a short time span. Water pumps, high pressure fuel pumps, intake cleaning, sometimes all before hitting 50,000 miles. Repair costs? A timing chain job alone can run $2,000 to $4,000. And if it fails completely, costs can skyrocket. So why does it happen? A mix of poor tensioner design, high heat, and turbo stress. Everything works under pressure until it doesn't. And when it fails, it's rarely just one issue. It's a cycle. Fix one problem, another shows up soon after. What starts as a fun, premium driving experience quickly turns into a constant maintenance headache. And from here, the next engine doesn't just rattle, it overheats. And sometimes it gets dangerous. Number 7. Ford 1.6-liter EcoBoost. The Ford 1.6-liter EcoBoost was built to deliver efficiency and power in a compact package, but it ended up being known for one major issue that can destroy the engine quickly: overheating. At first, everything feels normal: smooth power, decent fuel economy, and no obvious signs of trouble. But under the surface, the cooling system can become a weak point. Once temperatures start rising, the damage doesn't take long to follow. We're talking about coolant leaks, warped components, and even cracked cylinder heads. And in extreme cases, engine fires. Yes, fires. Real world, owners have reported sudden temperature spikes, warning lights, and smoke from under the hood, and sometimes while driving at highway speeds. Many failures have occurred before 60,000 miles, leaving drivers shocked at how quickly things went wrong. Repair costs: fixing major overheating damage can easily reach $4,000 to $8,000 plus, especially if internal components are affected. So what caused it? A combination of cooling system design flaws and the high heat generated by turbocharging. When everything works, it's fine, but when something fails, it fails fast. And that's the problem. There's very little margin for error. What starts as a small cooling issue quickly turns into a catastrophic engine failure. And from here, the next engines don't just overheat, they start failing from deep internal design flaws that you can't even see coming. Number 6. GM Ecotec 2.4 liters, LAF/LEA. The GM Ecotec 2.4 liters shows up in a wide range of GM vehicles, and on paper it looks like a dependable, fuel-efficient engine, but in real-world ownership, it hides a problem that slowly destroys it from the inside, often before 60,000 miles. At first, everything feels completely normal. No warning lights, no rough driving, no obvious issues, but behind the scenes, something is going very wrong. Severe oil consumption, and not just a little. Some owners report losing a quart of oil every 1,000 miles, sometimes even faster. Now here's the dangerous part. If you're not constantly checking oil levels, the engine begins running low, then dangerously low, and eventually almost dry. And once oil flow drops, internal components start taking damage immediately. Timing chains stretch, bearings wear out, heat builds up inside the engine. Then comes the failure. Real world, owners report knocking noises, rough running, and sudden engine failure, often without realizing what caused it. Many engines failed before 60,000 miles, especially when oil levels weren't aggressively monitored. Repair costs: fixing timing components or rebuilding the engine can easily reach $3,000 to $6,000 plus. So what caused it? A flawed piston ring design that allows oil to slip into the combustion chamber and burn off. Over time, carbon buildup makes the issue even worse. This creates a vicious cycle. More oil loss leads to more wear, leads to more damage. And the worst part? There's often no clear early warning. What feels like a perfectly normal engine quietly turns into a slow-moving mechanical failure. And from here, the next engine doesn't fail quietly. It gets destroyed by its own power. Number 5. BMW N63 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. The BMW N63 delivers serious power, smooth acceleration, and premium performance, but it comes with a hidden cost that many owners don't expect. On the surface, it's impressive, fast, refined, and packed with advanced engineering, but underneath, this engine is fighting one major enemy: heat. BMW used a hot V design, placing the turbochargers inside the engine's V. This improves response and packaging, but it traps heat directly inside the engine, and over time, that heat starts breaking things down. We're talking about valve seals wearing out early, timing chain, stretch oil leaks, gasket failures, and once one component fails, others quickly follow. Real world, owners report smoke from the exhaust, oil consumption, and multiple repairs stacking up before 60,000 miles. This isn't a one-time issue, it's a chain reaction. Fix one problem, and another shows up soon after. Repair costs costs easily $5,000 to $10,000 plus, depending on how many components are affected. So why does it happen? Extreme heat combined with complex engineering and tight packaging. Everything works under perfect conditions, but real-world driving isn't perfect, and once heat starts taking its toll, there's no easy way to stop it. What feels like a high-end performance engine quickly turns into a high-cost maintenance nightmare. And from here, the next engines don't just struggle with heat, they fail in ways that are even harder to fix and even more expensive. Number 4. Mazda Renesis 13B-MSP Rotary. The Mazda Renesis is one of the most unique engines ever built, and that's exactly why it's also one of the most fragile. On paper, it sounds like a dream. Lightweight, high revving, incredibly smooth. No pistons, no traditional valve train, just pure rotary performance. For enthusiasts, it feels special, different, exciting. But here's the reality most buyers don't expect. This engine demands near-perfect ownership habits, and if you don't follow them, failure can happen well before 60,000 miles. The core problem? Apex seals. These small components are responsible for maintaining compression inside the rotary housing, and once they wear out or fail, compression drops instantly. The engine starts struggling to start, power disappears, misfires begin, and eventually, the engine simply stops working. Real world. Owners report hard starts, rough idle, and sudden loss of power, often without much warning. And once compression is gone, there's no quick fix. Repair costs? A proper rebuild can easily run $4,000 to $7,000 plus, depending on damage. So why does it happen? Rotary engines operate at extremely high temperatures and rely heavily on proper lubrication and maintenance habits. Miss oil checks, skip warm-up routines, or drive aggressively without care, and wear accelerates rapidly. This isn't an engine you can treat like a normal car. It demands attention constantly, and that's the problem, because most drivers expect reliability without needing special care. What feels like a unique performance machine quickly becomes a high maintenance reliability risk, and from here, the next engine doesn't wear out over time. It fails because of a problem built into it from day one. Number 3. Hyundai/Kia Theta 2, 2.0 liters and 2.4 liters. The Hyundai/Kia Theta 2 powered millions of vehicles across multiple brands, and for many owners, it became one of the most notorious engine failure stories in recent years. At first glance, everything seems fine. Decent performance, good fuel economy, and widespread availability. Nothing about it screams problem engine. But hidden deep inside was a serious manufacturing flaw. Metal debris left inside the engine during production. Those tiny particles don't just sit there. They circulate through the oil system, slowly grinding away at internal components. At first, there are no major symptoms. The car runs normally, but over time, the damage builds. Then comes the warning sign, engine knocking, and shortly after, complete failure. In many cases, engines have seized before 60,000 miles, sometimes even earlier. Real world? Owners reported sudden engine shutdowns while driving, a serious safety risk. Some engines failed without any prior warning signs at all. Repair costs? Full engine replacements costing $5,000 to $8,000 plus, unless covered under extended warranties or recalls. So why does it happen? A manufacturing defect that was present from the beginning. This isn't about maintenance. This isn't about driving habits. The damage was already inside the engine, waiting to happen, and that's what makes it one of the worst on this list, because there's nothing you can do to prevent it. What should have been a reliable everyday engine turned into a massive reliability crisis affecting thousands of owners. And now we're down to the final 2, where the failures become even more unavoidable and even more expensive. Number 2, Mercedes M272, early V6. The Mercedes M272 comes from a brand known for engineering excellence, but this particular engine hides a flaw that can turn luxury ownership into a financial nightmare. On the surface, everything feels premium, smooth power delivery, refined driving experience, and that unmistakable Mercedes-Benz comfort. Buyers expect long-term durability. After all, it's a Mercedes. But here's the reality. This engine has a critical internal weakness that can lead to failure well before 60,000 miles. The problem? Balanced shaft gear wear. Now, this isn't a small issue. This gear plays a key role in engine timing and smooth operation, but due to poor material design, it wears out prematurely, and once it starts wearing, everything begins to fall out of sync. At first, you might notice a check engine light, maybe slight roughness, but behind the scenes, timing is being thrown off. And as the wear progresses, engine performance drops, efficiency suffers, and internal damage builds. Eventually, the engine can suffer severe mechanical failure. Real world, owners report persistent warning lights, rough running, and expensive diagnostic issues, often leading to major repairs. And here's the worst part. Fixing this isn't simple. Repairing the balance shaft requires tearing down the engine, making labor extremely expensive. Repair costs easily $4,000 to $8,000 plus, sometimes even higher depending on damage. So why does it happen? A design flaw in the balance shaft gear material that simply doesn't hold up over time. And once it starts failing, there's no easy fix. What feels like a premium, reliable engine quickly turns into a high-cost mechanical liability. And if you think that's bad, the number one engine takes failure to an entirely different level. Number 1. Ford 1.0-liter EcoBoost Fox engine. The Ford 1.0-liter EcoBoost was designed to represent the future. Small, efficient, and technologically advanced. But instead, it became one of the most controversial engine designs in recent years. At first glance, it seems impressive. A tiny engine delivering strong fuel economy and decent performance. But hidden inside is a design choice that causes serious long-term problems. The wet timing belt system. Unlike traditional belts, this one runs inside the engine, submerged in oil. Sounds innovative, but in real-world conditions, it becomes a major failure point. Over time, the belt begins to degrade. Small rubber particles break off and circulate through the oil system. Those particles clog oil passages, restricting lubrication to critical components. And once oil flow is restricted, damage begins immediately. Internal parts overheat, wear accelerates, and eventually, the engine fails. Real world, owners report engine issues before 60,000 miles, sometimes even earlier depending on maintenance and driving conditions. And the scariest part? There's often no clear early warning, no loud noise, no dramatic symptom at first, just gradual internal damage until the engine suddenly gives out. Repair costs, fixing or replacing the engine can easily exceed $5,000 to $8,000 plus, sometimes more than the car's value. So why does it happen? A design that simply doesn't hold up under real-world use. This isn't just bad luck, it's a flaw built into the system. What was meant to be a smart, efficient engine turned into a high-risk ownership gamble. So now the real question is, would you trust an engine that might not even make it to 60,000 miles? Because as you've seen, some of these failures aren't rare. They're built into the design. From oil starvation, to timing failures, to complete engine seizures. These engines prove one thing: not all modern cars are built to last. Which one shocked you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if this video saved you from a massive repair bill, hit that like button and subscribe, because the next video might save you thousands.